What's going on, everybody? It's George here with the Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel, and as always, I got my best friend, my brother from another mother, Mr. Casey Beckermeyer, with me, and we got some good stuff for you here tonight. Definitely coming to you live on a different day. There, Tuesdays at 7 is a little bit different. I'm gonna warn you ahead of time. I got two rugrats. They run around like chickens with their heads cut off quite a bit, so if one of my little ones jump in here, I'll put them on the camera, tell them to say hi, and send them on packing. So yeah, Casey, how's it going today?
Not too bad, man. I think I might have just gave us a little bit of feedback on that because I forgot we got some new, not really new tech here, but I'm using a laptop now, and I forgot to mute our video on here, so hopefully that didn't mess too much up. But I don't know how that's that's going to work out. So technical difficulties, but is what it is. We decided to come at you guys live on Tuesdays, kind of listen to a couple of the viewers, and maybe this will get us a little bit better in the future as far as audience goes and being able to be off work, things like that. Yeah, man, but today I think we're going to talk about house cars and the re-entry round. Kind of ties in with our previous couple podcasts, or YouTube videos, whatever you want to call them, with the pre-entry and things like that. But I think we need to start out, man, with what exactly defines a house car, in your opinion?
Yeah, house cars, the way I see it, definitely entered by the promoter, in my opinion. I don't have another definition that's going to describe it better than that, in my opinion. But someone who is either entered by the promoter or kicks back to the promoter is what we're talking about here. And certainly, if you're in the chat and you have a different understanding of what a house car is, type it in the chat. We'll be glad to discuss it. Let's talk about it. Let's get an understanding of it so that we can definitely pull it apart as best as we can there. So as we go through this, going to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, TMK, Graphics by TMK. Matt, we definitely thank you for everything you've done for us. We definitely got some nice decals on the way that we'll be able to share with you guys. Maybe get you to put it on the back of your door, on your license plate, or something on your drag car, and certainly carry the Going Bracket Racing name down the racetrack with you. Never know, it might bring you a little luck. And we certainly hope you turn on a lot of wind lights with it. But at any rate, Matt does a great job over there. He specializes in drag cars. So your decals, your race car numbers, your names on the windows, whatever it might be. He's got a pretty good understanding of what we might be looking for as drag racers. His description is his information is right down there in the description. And feel free to jump on his webpage, give him a shout. He's definitely on Facebook again at Graphics by TMK on Facebook there. So definitely give him a shout. Real quick, go through a little bit more clerical. I believe we're up to 220 subscribers on this YouTube channel. That's a milestone for us. We really just got this thing up and running, and can't thank you guys enough for your support, for being behind us. And on our Facebook page, if I hit refresh, we may have just crossed the 500 follower barrier. And that's huge. That's just great for us. Big time thank you to you guys for kind of being behind us there, showing some interest in what we got going on here at Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel. Certainly hit that subscribe button below. The more we grow, the more we'll come to you with more good content. And so definitely, man, as we get into this, where are we going first off, Casey, with those house cars? I know we've done a good job already of kind of describing what we would say a house car would be defined as. What do you think?
Basically, man, I think this was all kind of part of the same complaint that we were dealing with. Well, not that we were dealing with, but the racing community as a whole was dealing with last week, and kind of going back and forth on. But house cars kind of tie in with this, man, because I think that a lot of people think the major issue with house cars is promoters will give people breaks, saying if you give me some kickback, I'll cut or totally do away with the entry fee or not even charge an entry fee to begin with. And a lot of people, I think their opinion is that this takes, I guess, the pressure off the racer in some of these big races. And I did see somebody said something along the lines of like, oh, now I can go out there and go 003 or something like that, or shoot for a 3 rather than maybe a 10 or something like that, because if they go red, well, it's no skin off their back and there's no pressure. I personally don't really believe that. If anything, I would think there's equal pressure or maybe even more pressure, because you would know that this person's never going to enter you again, more than likely. If you go out first round, buy back, and go out again at one of these big time races, you might have just cost them $6,000, you know?
Right. And definitely not going to look good. Not going to look good on your resume to be entered by the promoter, and then proceed to drop the ball pretty good there. So definitely something. If you're a house card, definitely try to go past first round. Definitely. So I don't know. How about, what do you feel? You think it's right in a sense? I guess that's the best way I can ask it. Is if you think there's an actual issue behind the thought of house cars.
I personally, I don't really see a difference between a promoter entering someone in their race versus entering, say, like, if I was to enter you in a race, what's the difference in that? You still didn't pay the entry fee. So why does that make any kind of difference? I mean, isn't the pressure off you then, if that theory stands?
True, and I get that thought process to a large extent. Me being the driver, entered by going bracket racing Casey, and I mean, I don't have any money at stake, honestly. So my ability to do things is going to be minus a little bit more of the jitters and the nerves that say would be there if I was racing on my own dime. It certainly would make things a whole lot easier for me. So sitting on the outside looking in, I've never been a house car or been entered into a race as a house car. You know what I mean? So I can't say that I get it 100%, but I can say as I feel, I would be less nervous. So I mean, the promoter enters maybe 1 or 2 cars. I don't really know how wide this really goes. What do you think is maybe a number we could say? I mean, I don't have enough information to say so. I don't, certainly, if anybody in the chat has any information here on if this happens a lot or does it happen at all, really.
I really think that I think it's kind of just a fantasy that a lot of people have. I really don't think that house cars necessarily exist. I think people perceive house cars existing. I don't think they necessarily do. And if for no other reason, there's plenty of rich guys out there that'll pay for these really good guys to drive their cars. So I'll snatch them up real quick.
Yeah, and that's a good point to piggyback off of. I mean, if I write a check to Casey Beckmeyer and say, hey, Casey, use this money to enter into whatever race that we have for that weekend. I mean, this week it would be the Christmas Bash down there in Bradenton, Florida. Well, something to watch on TV for the weekend, by the way. Thank you, Motor Mania. I'll be tuned in, as I'm sure Motor Mania is down south in the 70 degree. I mean, I'm in Texas, and I'd say it's about 30 degrees outside. We've had snow the past 2 days, to be honest, here. So that generally doesn't happen here. I know I see Matt or Project Leftover Racing in the chat there talking about snow. Well, I came from snow. It just generally doesn't snow in Texas. But if I were to hand you a $3,000 check and say, hey, Casey, enter yourself into the race, does that make you a house car or does that make me a sponsor? What is the thought process behind that?
That's a really good point, man, that I never thought of. Is that's 100% right. It's the name house car shouldn't even be used. Sponsor should be used, because who enters John Force? Who enters, Leah Pruitt? Who enters all these big time people? Antron Brown, all those guys. They don't ride. Well, John Force might, I guess. But,
True.
But all the rest
Tom
of them,
Schumacher, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, that's exactly right. That's something I never put any thought into, is that you are a sponsor. You are not I mean, even if one of these promoters enters somebody, they are in my mind a sponsor. They aren't a house car. I don't think that term should even be used now that you mentioned that.
Yeah, I think you're right 100% there. And so maybe there's a little bit of animosity towards how the house cars entered. I guess what I'm leaning towards is proof that there wasn't a free entry given. And I can see how that would maybe stick into some people's side as this is bad. There's no way to prove that this particular car actually paid to enter this race. It's the promoter's race. Are they just saying, hey, here's a tech card, go sign that thing, and then kick back to me in the end? What do you think? Is that the case?
Well, and the thing is, let's just think about that for a minute. There are so many different ways you could hide money, especially when it's cash money, where it usually is at a lot of racetracks, that you couldn't even really trace anything because, for example, let's just hypothetically say, to make everything easy, I'm putting on a race and you're a racer. And let's just say we're brothers, and that is what it is. And I say, George, I could either say, you get in for free, just come pick up your card. I could say, you write me a check, I'll write it right back to you, and then nobody knows. I could say, we could trade parts. We could give each other, you could do work at my house. You know what I mean? Like there's a million different ways you could get around that no one's ever truly going to know if it was ever paid or not.
True.
So it doesn't matter.
It really doesn't, honestly. I mean, it's a thought process, and I guarantee everybody else, not just me, if I thought about it, then somebody else probably thought about it beforehand. You know what I mean? Right. But there has to be that thought in the back of your mind. Did he even pay his entry? Well, I got one even better for you. A house car. Can we define it as the promoter's car itself? Does that mean more to the other team?
I totally understand a promoter not being able to run their own race because there's too much conflict of interest there. I really don't think that. I think that there are so many eyes on specific people in those scenarios. If you're trying to cheat your way through it, you're out of your mind. I mean, there's just too many people watching, especially with Motor Mania now, like you were just talking about. I mean, yeah, you might have 700-800 people at the race. You probably got, what does Motor Mania get, like 11,000 views per race? I mean, they're
from all over the place too. That's a lot of eyeballs.
They're watching the scoreboard every single time, and they hear the announcer every single time. Now, if a guy comes up 000 7 times in a row, we're all going to be wondering, how did that guy do that? Maybe these people are calling him out in the chat. You're not going to get away with it anymore. But I mean, it's just, I totally understand the promoter not being able to run their own race, but I don't understand the family member part, because what's the difference? All of these promoters, everybody, they got lots of friends, right? Lots of friends support them. So why is everybody worried about their family members or their car in general, or even them, but not all their buddies? That would be the way that, if you're going to cheat them, that's the way you do it. Get some kickback there. Nobody's going to question it.
Yeah, and I'm on board with that 100%. There's nothing to rebut there. A friend can be as close as a brother in the first place. For instance, right. You and I. If I were to have a race and I threw it and I said, "Hey, Casey, drive my car," am I in the wrong for that? I mean, I don't feel like me offering my car to anyone, even though I'm putting on the race. As long as an entry fee is paid, you can strip my car down too. I think there's something like an $1,000 bounty for you to strip my car down if it goes super far. So pay the bounty, strip my car down, and check, make sure ain't nothing wrong with it. I mean, when you find it's clean as day and that I just hired a good driver, what bone do you have to pick with me from that point? Because essentially, and at the end of this all, you still got to win the round. You know what I mean?
That is my main point of the entire thing, is the fact that you still have to win all the rounds. You're not going to sneak stuff by. Maybe Maybe in the 80s you could have snuck stuff by like this, but you can't do that now. There's too many electronics involved. I mean, go back and watch our previous stream about the fourth digit and go back and listen to the math of just what it takes just to get two guys to have a .000 strike. I mean, it's not possible to be able to manipulate all these numbers anymore. We don't have written time cards. Everybody gets it right now at the end of the track.
No question about it. Oh, we got a comment in the chat there, and I might have overlooked it for a second there, but S. Alfred agreed with me, and he said he was thinking the same thing. And I'm pretty sure we were back whenever we were talking about entering, what if I write you a $3,000 check? Aren't I essentially a sponsor?
Yeah.
And if that's what you meant, S. Alfred, go ahead and leave some more comments down there in that chat. We'd love to dialogue with you, and anybody else in here as well. If you've got thoughts, go ahead and put them in that chat. That way we can bring them out. And as you talk, I will definitely read those out so we can have a little discussion around it. It definitely will help you guys, have more perspective than just my perspective and Casey's perspective or the going bracket racing perspective. But definitely, great comment. I would love to be entered into a race. Would that make someone wrong if I knew, or let's just say my brother or my dad was throwing the race? Does it make it wrong that I'm entered into that race? Is what we're talking about today. So, what else you got, Casey? I mean, we got a good few more thoughts on this project for sure.
Going off of what you just said, let's think about it this way. So, you being the older brother, you got a younger brother. Me and him are about the same age. Let's say Brian's got a car, and let's say you're an event promoter, and that's what you chose to do for a living. Now, theoretically, let's say Brian races, you were promoting races. Let's say you live next to each other, and if you're throwing some big race, it's probably a good race. Flyer looks good. So, how is it fair to him to not be able to enter this good race? He's automatically canceled out because you chose to go into that field of work. That's why is he getting punished? Because you chose to do this for a living. That's not fair. So now he has to go race for pennies somewhere rather than go down the street. That's not fair.
It's not fair at all. And so I can set the record straight, and it doesn't bother me if my little brother's watching this or not. I'm not sponsoring him to get into the race anyway. So, I mean, I guess I'll be all right there. I'm just kidding. He's actually pretty tough. So, but I get your point. If my brother's somewhere around me, my sister even, if they're around me, or my cousin. I mean, I have a cousin. He's got a dragster. What if I wanted to sponsor that dragster for the race?
Right.
I've got the money to do it. No one should be able to tell me that I can't. So, is there even a fix to this, in your opinion, as far as for house cars?
I don't even think there's I don't know if fix is the right word. I don't think it's possible to fix a bracket race. I think there's entirely too many variables to a bracket race, especially, like I said earlier, when you come down to with the time slips that have the fourth digit. I think it's just impossible to fix it. I mean, how are you going to do that? I mean, that's computer science stuff. There are very few computer scientists at a drag strip during a bracket race. I mean, maybe there's more than I think, but they're probably in race cars.
or maybe there's one that's because we're seeing it pretty commonly now that there's one guy there watching for any type of device that someone might be running. I'll strip that car down. It doesn't matter. He's kind of hip to what's going on. So
that's the overall. Just go to circle track rules, and like you said, pay the bounty. If anybody has a problem, say, okay, this guy paid the bounty. We won't tear you down in the middle of racing, but at the end of the night, we're gonna not. I don't even want to say tear you down because they shouldn't be taking cylinder heads off the car and everything.
Sure.
But if they want to look at your car and they want to crawl under it and all that, then I don't see a problem with that as long as they give you a decent amount of change worth your time. And whenever you're done racing and it's over with, you can have as many people, all your buddies can be around there all looking at it. I don't think anyone's going to have a problem with that because they're like, I don't care, I'm not cheating. Give me $500 and now I can pay my entry fee tomorrow or get in that gambler's race tonight or get in the dragster shootout or whatever. You know?
Right.
You help.
Yeah, so, I don't know. And we can continue on this subject probably all night, to be honest. There, but what about negative thoughts as far as on a house card? It kind of goes around with what you're just saying there. Um, I mean, if there's anything that's going to be negative, probably going to get tore down anyway. Would be the
Right.
only. And let's just not say that tore down. We have your car looked over sounds a whole
Yeah.
lot better than
Right.
tear my junk down.
And
But
everybody can say, oh, well, people don't know what they're looking for, blah, blah, blah. But, well, if you don't know what you're looking for, don't call people a cheater. You know what I mean? That's fighting words right there. Don't call somebody a cheater and then say, well, how am I cheating? Well, I don't know. Well, then how do you know? Because if you don't know how I'm doing it, then I'm not.
right,
Obviously.
right.
You know,
So
because I tell you right now, I'm not smart enough to figure out how to cheat. I don't even know how you would do that. You know what I mean?
right, and we're seeing a little bit more here at some of these races. Just kind of get back on the subject of house cars and how some of these races are ran. We're seeing raffles around the fifth round to put set amount of cars back into the race going into the sixth and things like that. Where I could see that being an issue if maybe the house car won that raffle.
Yep.
What do you
Maybe.
think?
That would be if you're going to. I think if you're going to be able to cheat anything, that would be the way you could do it. But the thing is everybody's doing this live on camera. The camera doesn't leave. They'll do it with like poker chips or I saw the other day, which in my opinion, this was the best way you could ever do a raffle is whenever Scotty was raffling off that truck and I think a scooter or something like that. And he had one of those old, those barrel things that they spin the
Turners?
bingo balls in back in the 80s or whatever.
Yep.
He had one of them. So you can see through it. He showed you every single ball on the table. He showed you every single ball in, and he pulled every single ball out. That's the way to do it, in my opinion. I mean, I don't think anybody is cheating the rules on anything, anyways. They show you everything as it's happening, but that's anybody's ever worried about it. That's the way to do it. That's the best way I've ever seen of any of that ever happen.
Yeah, yeah. And definitely most of the time those drawings are done Facebook Live even. I mean, there's not much of a way to finesse your way into that. So,
Right.
I don't know, man. I really got that feeling, though, as one of my kids probably tried to bust into the room, but lost my train of thought a little bit there, though. But if I had to say a conclusion or feel a certain way about house cars, I don't see the problem. And a lot of the problem, in my opinion, would be surrounding the fact that the person that is entered as said house car wasn't you in the first place. So it's like, well, you didn't pick me, so I'm mad about it. But if it were you who got picked, and you're the sponsored car, because I don't even want to call it a house car.
No, exactly.
You still going to be mad, or are you going to go drag racing? What are you going to do? You know?
Well, and we're talking about, what, one or two guys out of probably, at a small race these days, 450 guys?
Yeah.
I mean, like, you have so many barriers that I just don't see it being any kind of advantage. I mean, do you really, how many people would you say, like, at these $1 million races, I bet you, I would not be surprised if 25% of the field did not pay their own entry fee. At least, if anything, I bet you they didn't pay 100% of their own entry fee. They might have their name on the check, but it's probably not all their money.
I'd have to agree. There's just so many raffles going on, too, nowadays, to where I think one time, I'm not going to name any names, but I watched a guy, he probably won 5 entries into the million. He's got that much money to throw at it in order to do so, but he won 5 entries into the million. So do you not think he's going to put in 5 racers or put 2 entries on 2 of his drivers and have 1 left? Maybe he even sells 1. But who's to tell him what to do with his sponsorship, for lack of better terms? We got Jerry in the chat there. He says, I made it. George, make those practice tree hits, sir. He's always trying to get me on live making practice tree hits, isn't he? I will be obliged here in a moment there. I even set up a camera on my practice tree so you can not call me a cheater. You can see it live. So we'll get to that towards the end of the stream. I'm not ashamed to cut a couple lights.
Looks like we got a newcomer, too.
Who we got here? Oh, that's Kenny. He's down here. He's down here south with me. What's going on, Kenny?
Oh
I
yeah.
figure, well, I'm gonna run with him quite a bit. I think he ain't but 30 minutes away from me here. He had a real nice American car, and I think he probably just I don't know if he got rid of it, but I know he's gotten another dragster coming to him or something of that nature. But he's the one told me about Caddo Mills' track, that I-30. I saw some pictures of that track yesterday. I mean to tell you, they're getting that thing put together fast, and I'm
Nice.
pretty sure I'm gonna call that home and do quite a bit of running with Kenny. She's gone. He said that old American car is gone out of there, so he doesn't have that American car anymore. And man, that was a nice looking car. But it's good to be in old Sherman, Texas, and run into some guys who actually go to the track week in, week out. I mean, I'm pretty sure I watched Kenny go to the one of the, what is the race that they put on in Memphis that is like teams, I believe. Do you know the name of that? The Team Challenge or something like that?
Dream Team race.
Dream Team race. I saw him put together a team for that, and I was like, dang, you need me to come screw some seats? I'll be on your Dream Team. So, it'll be in the place to be. Yeah, he's saying I-30 is going to be the place to be. Kenny, thanks for coming in and sharing with us. You got any thoughts on house cars and re-entry rounds, which we're going to get into next there? We'll bounce back and forth. If you guys got comments, go ahead and leave them. We're going to bounce into the re-entry rounds, though. I think this could be as hot of a topic as what we talked about on last stream. Re-entry rounds. There's the love-hate relationship to re-entry rounds for sure. How you want to go into this, Casey? Because we could start this out just about any way and be right on point. So take your pick.
I mean, that's pretty much a good introduction to the next topic. There is, should re-entry rounds be ran separately from the guys who ran first round? I mean, it's literally people are hard yes or hard no, and man, it's another one of those things. I can totally see it from both sides, and I can literally be hard yes or hard no depending on which side of it I'm on. You know, but yeah, man. I mean, I talked to a guy the other day about this, and his main point was, on every weekend that you go to pretty much any track that's not having a massive race, if you buy back, you go straight into second round. And I guess the one side of thinking with that is, it's on one hand, because my dad told me also, speaking of this, kind of side note, I remember him telling me at one point that back in like the 80s and 90s, re-entry always ran by themselves. So you had to earn your way into second round. Well, that might have been a little different back in the day whenever, you know, cars had running a car within a tenth was good, you know, whereas now it's thousands. And the problem is that I guess it's unfair to the guys who won first round, because now they had to effectively earn their way into second round. And if you're just throwing everybody back into second round, well, they're just basically saying, well, congratulations, you didn't have to pay a buyback. So I guess we can start with that point. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Should you have to earn your way into second round, first of all, I guess?
I think that it's an uppercut to the person who busted their butt to win first round, to potentially run against the person that they beat first round in the buyback.
That happens a lot.
I guarantee it does. It's like, and there's always that revenge factor. That revenge factor. Look, if you put me out first round and you have to see me again at any point in a race, I'm going to be on the wheel. You already busted my butt once. I'm still licking my wounds from getting my butt kicked. And I'm going to try and lay down 0 on you if I can. You know what I mean? So I see it both ways. I do. I don't. I really have a problem with penalizing the winner of first round and making them run against someone who had just bought back. So
run first round again.
Right. Run it again, essentially. And I think it matters what race you're at. I do. I think that's probably the largest factor, in my opinion. If you're at one of these big races, these big 450, 750 entry races, then it's even more of a slap in the face. Number one, there's too many cars to do that.
A lot of
Number
money
one.
on the line.
And there's a lot of money on the line. You took the words right out of my mouth. So, I'd have to say that at some of the local tracks where there's only, some of these tracks, we have to make sure they're making money to keep the track open.
Right.
What we want to do is drag race anyway. So whatever suits said track the best, I could get with. I am a fan, however, of if you bought back, run against somebody else who bought back.
Right.
That's me. I'm a fan of that.
Would there be? There's another option. Would be. We've already resolved last week. We talked in length about the fact that you can't get rid of the buyback round because tracks flat out. I mean, tracks and drivers both deserve. Drivers deserve a second chance if they feel like they want it. And because sometimes I got beat last year one time, and I had like an 11 pack. Well, the other guy had an 8 pack. It's like that would have beat almost everybody else. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm on the wheel. I don't want to just go home. I'm good to go. It's just
right.
I ran the wrong guy. And on the other hand, what if there was a scenario where could buybacks still be ran in second round? So yes, you're still running second round again, but maybe they're at either the front or the back.
Yeah,
you're at the front, disadvantaged because they lost.
True, and I like that putting the buybacks in the front to where you call buybacks and people who won first round at the same time, but you call the buybacks to the rounds first. That way, your buyback cars are probably 90%. If I had to be honest, 90% of them are running against other buyback cars, right? So the only question would be then the people who won first round, are they competing in second round to where the buyback cars are going into third round? Because I like it to some extent, and it would be a huge time saver. What do you think?
I don't know. I don't think you can really skip around per se, and I don't think you can do that. I was just saying more along the lines because it would avoid running the same guy that you just either beat or lost to.
Sure. But isn't that essentially a buyback round? If we put the winners of first round right behind them and call this second round, this could be second round legitimately. But buybacks go first, just like if it was red, blue, green, yellow colors, or red door cars, yellow door cars. Let those buybacks run first and bring those first round winners behind them. They're running against other first round winners. Essentially, we're running second round with half of the buybacks coming back and half of the winners of first round coming back as well. What do you think?
Now that we're getting into it, I already can tell this is entirely too complicated as far as that goes.
True. That's pretty complicated.
But here's the side of things as far as re-entry round goes. So at a big race, we all know that everybody calls them the marathon races. If there's a whole bunch of cars there, there's a good chance that first round is going to, you might start first round at 8 in the morning, and it might be 3 o'clock until first round's even over. And then you got the re-entry round, right? So let's say re-entry is running by themselves. So you win first round, you're done. Now, if you win, or if you go run the re-entry round, that re-entry round might not be done until like 7 o'clock. So if second round is contested that same day, the person who won the re-entry round is at a significant advantage over somebody who won first round and hasn't raced since. They might be running second round at 7 o'clock at night, and they won first round at maybe
10 in the morning.
So,
that is an unfair advantage.
Right.
Not only is it you've only ran once, but you've only got one shot at a tree where your opponent has 2 shots at the tree. Then you throw in the fact that if there was any type of a weather change, well, they've already been down this track to have another hit on the tree, to have another dial-in even to go off of. So I agree with that 100%. And again, even on the last stream, you saw me be a proponent of re-entry round that ran, and then you stopped and said it was basically a marathon. It
Right.
puts everybody on a even playing field.
Right.
You had to go to sleep. Number one. Number two, I like to say everybody probably got in the cooler the night before. Who's going to be hungover? Who's going to be smart about it and just drink water?
Right.
Nobody. But still, you know what I mean? Everybody's on the even playing field with 80% of them probably being hungover.
Right.
So I like the thought of re-entry round. It's hard to just get rid of it altogether. It is, because I want a second shot if I lost first round. I want a second shot at it. Especially if I was 003 and somehow the car just decided to run 3 numbers slow. That's a bunch of junk to me.
I've been known to want a second shot at it whenever I was 60.
Right. Right.
No,
So,
I can't be that bad.
oh man, your practice tree is still outside in the garage. I take it.
Hey man, I wrote all these numbers down if you want to see them today.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, because we hit 25 every day.
Yep.
And so I've hit 25 today already, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I was fast when I did it last time, so I'm going straight to the delay box. I'm gonna add me about 4 good numbers in there real quick. I added 3. Did you hit all 25 of them today?
Got all 25. I should have taken a couple out of it, but whenever the way I got it hooked up in my car, the delay box, the practice tree sits on the hood.
Yeah.
Because I got all my wires running to the big tree.
Right.
So I can't really mess with it. But I'll tell you these first 5, and then you hit 5 and you tell me where you're at.
I got you. I'm going to go ahead and bring in the screen here.
You hit one, and then I'll tell you what it is. And if you don't believe me, I'll show you.
Okay, so I'm going to hit one right here. This is my first hit of the day. Well, not of the day. I've been on this already. I got to take that back stream. I already hit a couple today. But let's see where we're at here. I was 27 first hit.
I was 8, so I beat you on that one.
You beat me on that one. All right, hold on.
Next one's tough. You better hit it good. This next one's a good one.
You trying to, okay. All right, here we go. You was perfect, wasn't you? I ain't even hitting it yet.
I wasn't.
All right. I felt a little better, probably like 10, 16.
I was 2.
Ooh. All right.
You got a chance here at the end.
I'm still late. I'm a little late right now. I feel it. I'm a little slow. That was 8.
I was 9 on that one.
Okay.
You got me on that one. So you got to beat me the last 2.
I got you.
You should rob him.
Well, what'd you do? Miss totally?
Yep. No.
I'd say I'm 4. 3.
I was 13.
All right, hold on a second here. What is that? Is that 4? I got one more.
Got one more. This is for all the marbles.
I'm going perfect. I'm going perfect. I'm calling it.
You shouldn't have a problem beating me.
1. I'm 1 thou.
I was 13.
I was 4 thou. I was 4 thou. All right. I thought I was 1 thou right there. Oh, there's your 5 hits, JR. Hey, I promise, Jerry, we're gonna get you back, man. We're gonna put you on live stream, let you see what this is all about. That's we got to get you set up that way too, Casey. That's decently tough. So
need to get me another one. Laura was actually my wife. She was actually telling me the other day. She said, "I watched your last live stream. Are you gonna buy another practice tree now?"
Got to put another one, or at least get some more plugs. That way you can unplug and just bring the box up, and you ain't gotta disconnect so much. So I'm gonna hit one more for giggles. What do you want?
Let me see what my next one is. My sixth one was 4.
4.
You gotta be 3 or better.
Tough crowd. 2. I told you. 2 thou.
I'm done playing.
You don't want to play no more? Well, I got to call one. Called one out. But anyway, as we got distracted again by the man JR.
Where were we here? Speaking of JR, though, we might as well just tell everybody that JR, we're actually recording a video with him on Friday, I believe, and he's actually going to go in depth on this Holly EFI and data logging. If anybody's interested in that, that'll be a really good one. Won't be a live stream, but it'll be a recorded video that we'll post up on Tuesday probably of next week.
I think Tuesday of next week is a good day. We're getting off into Christmas, and everybody travels during the holidays, so we'll have a couple things coming. I've got a buddy of mine who, him and my dad kind of duke it out quite a bit. They go head and head on that Super Quick, Jeg Super Quick series. Jeremiah Hall is going to step in for us around that time too, and we're going to try to give a little bit of Power Glide tech talk, maybe a video around that. Certainly make sure you've mashed that subscribe button below your screen there, and turn on the bell notification. That way when we do drop those types of videos, if that's something that interests you, you can tune in, maybe leave some comments, let us know if you want to see something, and if we can get our hands on someone who knows better than us, we'll certainly bring the content towards you. So yeah, man, pretty well. I think we've touched the subjects pretty good there, if you ask me. And got any closing remarks, any closing thoughts, anything?
Man, I don't know. I think my main thing is I don't think marathon racing applies to any of that stuff as far as the re-entry round goes. I don't think anybody should really be necessarily even calling it that, because y'all knew what you signed up for, And I've been to races that you better have an alternator because and two batteries, because you're not charging your car. You're literally filling it with fuel and going right back to the lanes. And I've been to races where you're dragging your feet, and it's, if nothing else, it's raining, and I've been to those too, but you're still racing. And I think either way, you have to have a buyback round in some shape or form. I think the best option is to just stay in these big races. We're running first round and re-entry today. If you win first round, your prize for winning first round is now you're done already before lunchtime. You make you a good lunch on the grill, drink a couple beers, hang out with your buddies, watch racing because you're at the racetrack, bet at the finish line, whatever you want to do. And
you're going to have fun.
Prize. You already won that day.
You're going to have fun. There's no way around that. Throw the football with the kids if you got your kids there with you, if you have kids. If not, you're going to find somebody who's going to make something about the event fun.
Right.
So definitely, by all means, re-entry round is probably here to stay. It probably, eventually, if it's not already adopted everywhere, you're going to have a re-entry round everywhere. It's good for the track. It's good for the promoter. It's good for the racer. It benefits everybody. So yeah, with that being said, I don't have much left. I'm definitely going to take a couple of seconds to go ahead and go back to where I began. As always, to thank those sponsors there. Matt over at Graphics by TMK. I definitely have to plug him. Anything decals. You need a logo for your car on the fender. You need anything as far as car numbers and names. He's pretty tough. There's his information there. And he's on Facebook if you need to go there as well.
I think he's rendering full cars right now. I saw a couple on his Facebook page earlier today. Looked like maybe some kind of Mopar and then a newer Camaro that he's working on right now. So
it looks pretty good too. And definitely, so guys, check him out. Certainly appreciate everybody for popping in, leaving some comments. And certainly if you missed the stream, don't worry. We're going to read these comments anyway. Go ahead and make the comments. Give us some thoughts. If we need to come on live again to talk about this particular subject, don't put it past us. We'll do it. We don't mind. So with that being said, thank you for your Facebook support. 500. I've already hit refresh. 500 viewers. As I lose my camera there, I think I just lost camera. So at any rate, Casey, you got any other words?
Oh, it looks like here S. Alford saying he'll see me at Galat. So whenever we finally make it out there again, man, I'll probably be out there in February trying to get some runs under my belt to get ready for that first race of the year. Stop by and say hi, man. But now, no, man, other than that, we appreciate everybody being with us here, and let us know if you like these Tuesdays better than the weekends. We know that guys got stuff to do after work on the weekends on Fridays, and we're trying to get something locked down where everybody else can kind of get involved. And JR, you're distracting me. I'm not shaving, not doing it.
No, that's a bad idea. He definitely needs to keep his beard. Now, maybe if you bet him, you can beat him on the tree. I'd actually be willing to watch him cut it on live stream, though. But that's here nor there.
That's too steep of a bet, sir.
It says he ain't doing it. And anyway, guys, thanks for coming in. We'll see you Tuesday with the new video. And can't appreciate you guys enough for coming by and seeing us. Hope y'all having a good evening. I'm going to go get something to eat because I'm a little hungry.